Good afternoon on what is a overcast, grey but mild day. It is Wednesday the 23rd of February. I'm back in the reading nook with a cat who is now ours and a nice hot cup of tea and a parcel to unbox. So taking quite care with a knife because I know how curious he does get about what I am doing. So there we go, you can see he's basically going, what are you doing with your hand there? So let's find out what is in this box. Almost there. And I can see a flash of colour. Which tells me it's something interesting. So let's just show you that. That might give you a clue as to what it is. I'm going to pull it straight. Okay, so if I do that, it is away. Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles and Other Strangeness. This is the revised edition, but it's by Erick Wujcik, published by Palladium Games. So let's just find out when. 1983 copyright, 1985. Okay. So yeah, this is the revised edition. Now this this is quite an interesting role-playing game because I can remember when this came out in 1985, it hit big. This is the one role-playing game that everybody wanted because it was so strange, it looks so exciting, it looks such fun from the cover. Now obviously it's based upon the comic of the same name, where basically you had Mutant Ninja Turtles, who are martial artists in a half shell. And would have exciting adventures and go and fight enemies and right wrongs and that sort of thing. And this is the result. This is basically the adaptation from Palladium Games. Now you would think the Palladium Games would be the last person to really do something like this or adapt something like this. Perhaps it's kind of weird and wacky, maybe. But they did come out. Palladium Games did come out with Riffs a bit later, which is essentially what I can best describe as a post-apocalyptic kitchen sink kind of setting. But here, what you do is you play an animal who is a martial artist, and you really are kind of doing the same things as in the cartoon. So your animals start with urban, rural, wild birds, or zoo. So that's the general category. And then urbans, it might be a dog, a cat, a mouse, a rat, a pet rodent like a guinea pig or hamster, a sparrow. Rural animals, much the same, joined by chicken or duck, goat or turkey. Wild animals, wolves, grizzly bears, mountain lions, lynxes, skunks, armadillos, boars, wild birds, sparrows, robins, crows, hawks, and so on. Zoo animals, polar bear, crocodile, aardvark, rhinoceros, all would become anthropomorphic and turned into a martial artist. And a lot of them essentially, as you roll for your, so you've got this big list of sort of like animal types. Then you've got your cause of mutation and the organisation you belong to. Basically, they did the carried on the experimentation, and then we have the wild animal educational table. Lots of tables you're rolling on to create a character. And then we have bio E-points, special abilities, science, growth levels, human features, and you're taking your character through these steps to see how anthropomorphic it is, what special abilities it has, how big it is, whether it has psionics or human characteristics, hands or not. Some have sort of like something akin to hands, others don't. And here we have sort of like an example of growth steps in the human features. So we go from a wolf through sort of various stages of wolfman to just very hairy human. And we do have alignments in here, which is more expanded than those you're expecting from Dungeons and Dragons. things like, so they are categorized. There are no selfish alignments. You've got good alignments, selfish alignments, evil alignments, and so on. So there's quite a lot there. A number of skills, quite a heavy skill list, experience points, determine education level, and then you're buying skill packages for a lot of cases. And there are lots of skill programs, so, computer programming, military programs, physical programs, and in a lot of cases, as I remember it, what you're really trying to do is get up increase your combat skills and your stats because of it. It does take a bit of work. You've got the skill descriptions. Now, as I said, this is by Erick Wujcik, who is best known for this, I think, and another game called Amber Diceless Role Playing, which is completely unlike this. I did a proper review of it last year, and that's based upon the works of the Amber series of novels by Roger Zelazny, and it's a dynastic kind of role-playing game built around a royal family of superpowered individuals in a fantasy setting. And yeah, it's completely diceless. This is completely different. This is completely dice full. You're rolling percentile dice to hit. You've got percentile dice to roll your skills, d20 sided dice to hit. You're doing damage. You have hit points and structural damage capacity, that sort of thing for your, basically the amount of damage you can take before you start taking wounds with hit points and that sort of thing. And then we've got sonics and descriptions in here, and we've got lots of animal powers like antlers, horns, claws, digging, tunnels, and it all depends upon the type of animal you play. But yeah, essentially, so as I say, Erick Wujcik designed this. He also did a book called Revised Recon, which is the Vietnam set role-playing game based upon an early little role-playing game called Recon, which is doesn't have a particularly good reputation because of its subject matter. But Revised Recon is more of a historical take upon the Vietnam War and role-playing that. And what's interesting is that essentially, role-playing in Vietnam is my only ever encounter with Erick Wujcik. He came to the UK in 1986, 1985, something like that. I didn't really know who he was. I would have been sort of like 1920, and he played in a Vietnam game with us. I played the lieutenant, also basically an inexperienced lieutenant, because I said, yeah, you play him because you'll be really good at it. And it was fun. I remember playing it. It was fun to play. It was fun to play with him, but I really didn't know him from anyone else at that point. I was quite clueless, and I really would have liked to go and say, hi, do you remember this game, before he died. Anyway, so and he also so those are the three games he's kind of best remembered for. But here we have animal descriptions. So let's take, for example, the animal crocodile. We've got size, level, length, weight, build. Mutant changes in cost. So you got the total points, and you start buying things like hands, and whether it can be biped and speech and looks and so on, natural weapons, and so you can upgrade it, to be as anthropomorphic as you want or not. And there are lots of different animals in here. And I think this is sort of just a basic long list of animals that you can play. I think this would be still fun to play because it's bonkers, because it is fun, and it's a lot more obvious. It's because it's a smaller role-playing game. It's a bit more focused, and it's more obvious about what you're playing. What you're playing and what you do. You are a mutant martial artist animal. Black belt radioactive hamster, or a teenage mutant ninja turtle. Facing the threats, the secret threats, what most people don't think about. Whether that's alien invaders from transdimensional invaders, corporations with secret, weapon and program development programs, or and the like. And it's all very much an American list of animals, but there's animals in here which you could take and adapt into the country of your choice. So obviously marten and mink well, it's basically, sorry, muskrat, for example, is very much an American animal, but marten and mink will be found elsewhere, and they're going to be things like, you know, otters and porcupines and raccoons and stuff like that, and they'll be found all over the place. And I definitely now, having seen it, I definitely now want to play an otter in this game, because that would be utterly amazing. So the other thing that in here is a lot of the artwork isn't by Kevin Sambiuda. Kevin Sambiuda is known for his artwork, and obviously running Palladium Games and publishing a lot of games of his own. But here the artwork is by Eastman Unlead, and really, you know, basically it's a licensed product, so that they're drawing upon that artwork, and we've actually got a complete comic strip in there as well. And here you can kind of see just how sort of like how not necessarily how rough the comic was, but rather, you know, that it's self-published, less polished kind of view. It's not really based upon, you know, basically, you know, the sort of self-published comics of the period. And it's basically, you know, the two guys have made a lot of money out of this and developing it into the property, into games and films and you know, the cartoon series and so on. But here we've got you know, basically an idea of what's going on. Great little cartoon strip which sets the tone for the comic, for the game. And finally, okay, after all that, you get onto combat. And you can actually see some of the moves here. There's lots of fun, excitement. You know, it's got a sense of dynamism and excitement. I think that is kind of easy to bring to the table. A lot easier than perhaps many other Palladium games. I'm aware of it that I'm not necessarily a fan of Palladium games. I like them for their concepts. I don't necessarily like them for the execution of the books. Are not in many cases their books are not as well executed as they really should be. Is the best way to put it. Here we've got a big table, big list of ninja equipment, because you know you need something to arm your player characters. And so more and modern weaponry efficiencies, so if you're going to bring those into play. And basically got a long list of weapons, and these are all very sort of like late 70s, early 80s, and they tend not to change from one Palladium game to another, so essentially you might see the same kind of artwork turn up on these weapons despite them changing. Long lists of equipment, you know, for urban games, and in general the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is very much an urban game, you know, based in the big city, in the sewers below, or wherever the hideout is. Yes, they go out to the countryside, of course, but really it's like an urban game, and you know they might get flung into another trans dimension, or taken off-world by alien invaders. And then we've got the Game Master section. You know, we've actually got an example of character roll up there. You kind of think, I probably could have come with a bit further forward in the book, that would have been helpful. But again, layout and organisation was never Palladium Games' strong point, to be fair. And then we've got adventures and things like creating criminal organisations and setting stuff up for your game. And we've got an actual proper adventure, Caesar's Weasels. And we've got essentially a bit of a repeat of artwork there, but again, decent artwork. Here we go. Sample characters, fantastic shot of a player character. That's a really good artwork for this. It really suits it. Then we've got the Terror Bears. I mean, these are sort of like the antidote to the Care Bears of the period. Care Bears were really big. Dr. Feral, the genius of Biospawn, another adventure. There we go. There's Dr. Terror himself. Yeah, Dr. Genius, Dr. Ferrell, sorry. Dr. Ferrell, not Dr. Terror. And then Terror on Route 5. Again, yeah, this gets adventures do take you outside the city, but of course, but again, it comes down to still kind of a urban game, and then the Leg of the Ninja, another adventure. Actually, what I like about this is, you know, as opposed to a lot of other Palladium games that came later, you know, you've got plenty of content here to play around with. But then you've got content in places in which to play. You've got adventures, and that's really great touch. You know, I am still kind of impressed by this. You know, just how much fun there is. I mean, exciting a game this is. And then we got the stats from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles themselves. So all the stats for all 4, and then you've got the origins there. In print, where he prints the comic strip, and stats for the other characters in the comic strip. So obviously April O'Neil, Casey Jones, organisations that are associated with this. You've got the Foot, including stats for Shredder, their chief villain, and then we've got the TCRI aliens. And then, you know, basically other characters as well at the back. So yeah, there is and you even got, you know, a worksheet and sort of like almost a character sheet there for your player characters. So yeah, that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is, I think you could play this today and have a lot of fun with it. You know, right out of the book, as necessarily opposed to some of the other titles from Palladium, where it's not really playable out of the book without a lot of work. This is really accessible. It's really fun. It's kind of silly. You know, you say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you kind of know what you're getting, and this delivers, I would say. Anyway, thanks again for watching another unboxing in Nook. If you've enjoyed this, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a parcel and a book, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so. All, of course, accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. And in this case, a cat who is not ours. Then please do hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, thanks again for watching, and we'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. And I'm sorry that it can't be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles again.